We're back in sunny Ottawa. I'm Mary Rowe, welcoming you back to the second session of the State of the City Summit. And I'm going to introduce our Vice Chair, Cynthia Dorrington, who's going to welcome us for the morning. We continue to have some travel glitches, which means that some people are delayed, but everybody seems to be en route, which is a miracle, just saying. But it might mean a little bit of flexibility in terms of who you see up here. But we will stick to the schedule. So it's 9 o'clock. We're going to open. I'm going to pass now to Cynthia Dorrington, the Vice Chair of the Canadian Urban Institute. Here's the mic.
Thank you very much, and welcome, everyone. Even with the weather challenges, welcome. You have a full day ahead of some really great conversations that are taking place. And we kicked it off this morning with Mental Health Matters. And that was a fantastic conversation, talking about how we can look at this particular issue, because it's not an issue for one city, it is an issue across the country. So I would, I'm actually doing the great opening here in regards to welcoming every one of you, first of all, being here. And I would like to thank our sponsors. We could not have done it without our sponsors, so it's really important that we thank our presenting sponsor, RBC. Thank you very much. We also have lead sponsor and research sponsor, the University of Toronto School of Cities. As well, supporting partner is DREAM, and a contributing partner is the City of Ottawa. Outside of these four sponsors, we have many, many, many more sponsors. So again, I thank each and every one of you who contribute to actually putting this event together in regards to your monies and contributions that have helped us. You can find the full agenda, folks. There is a tent on your table. There is a QR code there, so please scan that. There will be a full agenda for the next 2 days. Lunch will be at 12:15, followed by a 5:30 reception in the foyer. We will have had a chance to register for, if you've had a chance to register for tomorrow's events, thank you very much. There are some walking tours and interpretive sessions. If not, please do register so that you can get your name on there before they're full. Additionally, there's no formal breaks today. So coffee will be outside. You can go get refreshments, fill up your coffee, but we will be, as Mary said, on tap, keeping to schedule. Additionally, the RBC Lounge in the foyer is open, so please visit it. There's also some exhibit tables of CUI's work around, so please pop by, see what you can get from there. Great information. I just saw one as I was going into the coffee area, selling some books and stuff, so really a good opportunity. At the same time, just a plug, City Talks, the podcast is out where the coffee is at today. So there will be somebody roving around getting interviews from folks here in the room. So please stop and get interviewed at the same time. Great opportunity to listen to some podcasts. I was actually out there for my coffee and I heard Mary talking and I looked around and Mary was not there, but it was her podcast playing. So also, we are using Slido to collect the questions from the audience. So please follow the instructions on that. And we have a terrific program for the remainder of the day. And again, it will run like clockwork. So you have the agenda, you know when it starts, be in the room when you want to listen to those conversations. So thank you very much.
Thank you. So one of the people that's delayed is Verna, who's doing the Indigenous welcome. So we're going to watch for her to come in. But in the meantime, because we're the 21st century and we're into technology apparently, look at the table card on your table and there are QR codes there. And you can hold your camera and modern technology, good morning, modern technology is going to allow you to see the agenda and also see U of T's report, which Karen Chappell will speak to and present. And it's just hot, literally hot off, I guess you're not hot off the press, what are you? Hot off the terminal. Ben, what did you do? You pushed a button. A press of a button happened at midnight, and magically that report has appeared. I've been talking to a lot of, I'll just do the stand-up routine here to kind of fill time. Exactly. I've been doing a lot of media interviews, as has Karen Chappell over the last several weeks, and so has Maddie Simitiki. There's many of us here who are singing from the Infrastructure is Sexy song sheet. And I'm sure when you told people, well, honey, where are you going? Why are you going to Ottawa? And you told your family member, well, I'm going to a conference on infrastructure, I'm sure they were just had unbridled enthusiasm for you. But it is, last night, Francis tried to challenge us to say, look, there is urgency here. And you heard the same from the mental health panel from a different angle. So we're not wasting our time, just saying. These are important things to be talking about. And we appreciate you all have big day jobs. And you can see from the range of folks that are in the room, there's never enough people. We never have enough representation. We never have enough diversity. We appreciate all of that. It's a work in progress as we build cities and try to come together with these challenges. But just to say, you know, was it Woody Allen? I don't think we're allowed to quote him anymore, but wasn't he the guy that said, history is made by those who show up? Was it Woody Allen? 9/10 of life is showing up. There's a variation. So we're here. You're the 9/10. And I wanted just a couple of things about that. What a great luxury we have that we can take a day to put our collective minds to solving and addressing some of the most acute challenges that our cities and communities are experiencing, but also to talk about all the interesting opportunities and the interesting things that are happening in our communities in all sorts of fabulous ways. So during the morning session on mental health, I was sitting back there. I've got to say I was really impressed at how few people had their head down. So here's my challenge, which I'm accepting myself. Don't use your phone today. Be present in this room. Be interact. Unless you've got a parent who's ill or a child or some urgent thing that requires you to be ever vigilant, give yourself the gift of focus, right? It's hard. Let's try to be present for one another. Yes, well, I've got the, yes, she just said take the phone out of your hand. There, okay. Unless you're like me and you have notes in your phone, but that is the point that Janice just said. Get the phone out of your hand. Let's give ourselves the gift of being present, shall we? Verna McGregor is here, and I'm going to invite her to come and join us. I'm wondering where she is and if she can come. You're right here. She's going to come. And Verna's just had a bit of a trip on the highway and delayed through what is Ontario weather, and I'm very pleased to have her welcome us, and I'm going to hand you this.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you for being with us.
Oh, thank you, Mary. I was driving down the 105 this morning, and I did wear my flu vogs, too. They're special flu vogs. They're Algonquin flu vogs. I'd like to welcome you to our traditional unceded lands. I say Vernon Indigenous. My clan is Fox on my mother's side and Thunderbird on my father's side. And why I say this is prior to contact, that's how we would introduce ourselves, because for us as Algonquin, we're known as Omamaninwag, the nomads, actually the Algonquin of the northeast of Turtle Island. And Turtle Island is North America, and we have a long history of that, which is tied to we even have our own creation story. But also with the turtle, there's many teachings to that. So with contact too, as well, as everybody knows now, has an idea, that upset that whole understanding. And what I do these days too as well, I do a lot of talks on still the Native understanding and a non-Native understanding, because there's still a difference there, because it was pushed aside. And for us to, with Kitigan Zibi, we still have our 3 original wampum belts, and one of them was the Seven Fire Prophecy belt, which foretold the new people coming to Turtle Island, and that we come to a crossroads where we'll have to come together regardless of our differences because of how we've evolved. And I always talk about the significance of Ottawa, and I bring my little canoe with me because, first of all, I do a lot of climate change, and for those who've already seen it, I said, you know, we travel carbon-free. But now we have to go back to that sort of. And But at the same time, that's where this innovation needs to happen too, because our understanding is that we're here for the next 7 generations. And as I was driving down this morning, almost getting into an accident, I said, well, I could be canoeing, but I was driving down and I was thinking about the language too, because part of this history was this erasure of our languages and culture. But I was thinking about cities, and in Algonquin, what they call cities, they go odenawing. And if you look at the syntax of the word, ode is heart, and knowing this, second part is the place. Cities are like the heart place, and they are central to everything. And here, again, for us, it was this, we'd meet here in the summer and talk about what's going on the land. And that's similar to what you're doing here today, talking about what's going on, really the land, but the cities. And how do we come to balance? Because, and the canoe teaches us balance, if anybody's been on a canoe. And, but again, too, I always talk about that because that was a confluence here of the river coming together from the 4 directions. And I always find that there's more teachings that represents the 4 seasons, the 4 directions, 4 stages of your life, the 4 colors of people. One of the teachings is we all share the elements, the earth, the water, the fire, the air. And we're all on a journey here. We come from spirit, take our first breath like the sun coming up, and we do our earth walk. And we're all given challenges. And here you are with your challenges today in terms of how do we deal with change and change to the cities. As you've seen that even with COVID, it changed the dynamic of the cities. Technology changes the dynamic of the cities. And again, and the aging population. So again, how do we strive for balance? And it represents to your emotional, physical, spiritual, and mental. The center represents balance. And I always find that funny. I come from Kitagon-Zibi. I follow the Gatineau River, which you call Tanagidnong-Sibi. And the Ottawa River flows from the west to the east. And just down here on Sussex, you have the Rideau River. We call that Passapaquidjuan. And so that's why this was such an important meeting place too, and it represents balance. And I find it interesting that Parliament and all the federal headquarters are at this confluence. So your work here is very important. So again too, and it was foretold also about our development and how can we develop smartly, I'd say, but smart cities, and that's the talk today about smart cities. So what I'm going to do is, Mary gave me some tobacco, and this was part of protocol. It's tied to our creation story. Anytime you harvested anything from the earth, you would always give back. Or if you asked somebody to share knowledge or ceremony, you would offer tobacco. So when we were on the land too as well, we would always carry a little pouch. It's a little smaller than this one, because this one I have my money in here. But anytime you harvest, it's that reminder also of reciprocity and to give back, and that's that balance today. And I think that's where you're coming here to talk about issues and how do we find that balance, because there's other pressures today like climate change. We have species extinction. We have COVID, which it reminds us how we're connected to the air. We're all connected to the waters because we're all approximately 72% water. That depends if you drink your water every day. But again, too, it's that we're all connected, whether we like it or not, and that's one of our basic teachings. So on that note, I'm going to ask you maybe just to stand, because you're going to sit there all day too. It's good to shake it up. And really too, when we'd meet here, we would have a smudge. And I may just smudge the room really quickly. And it's changing the energy and sending you good wishes. And same with the tobacco, I offer that to the sacred fire or to the falls, because really the tobacco is our connection from the physical world to the unseen world. And sometimes too, when they have the discussions, we forget about also our spirit and spirits. Really quickly, I have a little story here, especially this NAC. I got a call about 3 years ago from this group from Australia. They were doing their traditional dance, so they asked me to come and do an opening. And it was snowy like today, and I got the last parking spot way in the back of the NAC here. And I got out, and I thought it was a loonie on the ground. So I picked it up, I put it in my pocket, then I went up because I was late as usual. And what happened is when I got back to my office, I took out the loonie, but it wasn't a loonie. It was this special coin, and it was a woman, a Native woman with her baby. It's Sagachweya. And it was a special limited edition coin from that was issued in the United States. And I said, how funny is that? At the end of the parking lot, I have a collector's coin, but I said, I think that comes from spirit. And I was just yesterday with this international trade, and for us, we still have the other wampum belt is the Jay Treaty Belt, where the US recognizes the Jay Treaty, but Canada doesn't. But the basis of that wampum belt was also prior to contact, we had no borders, and we had the acknowledgement that we are free to travel still on Turtle Island. But today too now, they were talking about how does that apply to this now, the recent announcement of tariffs. So on that note, I'm going to say miigwech. Miigwech is thank you in Algonquin, c'est merci en Algonquin, et j'ai dit ça 4 fois.
It's thank you in Algonquin. I said that 4 times.
To honor us coming together today from the 4 directions, and to honor the 4 elements, and how do we solve these issues too for the next 7 generations here, because the word for child is abenojish, and again with the syntax is abin. It translates as our reason for being here. And so, yeah, I honor you, and because it is complex, this economy is complex, but we got good minds in the room, I think. So miigwech, everybody. That's it.